After 1 month of riding, we've made it to the capital of Laos, and we're on our way to the capital of neighboring Cambodia. Each morning we get up early, eat breakfast in the hotel, and hit the road full of wonder about what lies ahead on our journey across Southeast Asia. It's early October, and the rainy season isn't quite finished yet.
Sitting on the bike all day, I was starting to fall asleep here. I don't drink coffee, but I was actually thinking of stopping to get a cup of coffee just to get awake. And we see these kids here playing. Oh, and I love soccer. I never played in this outfit and with a helmet on, but I just don't want to go wet. I'm nice and warm and cozy, and they were very skeptical in the beginning, but we had fun. It was a good experience. I don't think they've played with anybody like the monster I am today. It was fun. So let's go down, see if we can find something else adventurous in the rain.
Man, it has been a real turd floater. It just has been coming down for about 3 hours now, but you know, it's all good.
Quite often we stop to eat the local food. If we're feeling brave, we might try something new. Otherwise, it's a hot bowl of noodle soup, perfect on a cold, wet day like today. Today's destination is Savanakhet, on the banks of the Mekong River, across from Thailand. Once again, we arrive in the dark, after a long day on the road.
So today is going to be a day without rain. I don't know if that's a joke or, but I'm getting pretty sick and tired of this rain here.
A little exploration brings us into the backcountry of Laos, along dirt tracks used by farmers and livestock. We've hit an impasse and have to turn around. While filming Helge and Chris, a water buffalo stops to inspect me. It's a nervous moment for both of us. Apparently, he doesn't like my smell and hurries on.
You can see it's a little muddy back here. I was up filming Chris and Helge having fun turning around. And when I turned around, I gotta go pick up my bike.
It's so nice to see the photographer sweat a little.
I'll show you how it's done.
Oh, what do you got? It's a little bicycle. It's a 250. Perfect bike for these conditions.
Having the freedom to stop and interact with people along the way is what makes traveling by motorcycle so interesting for us.
For the last miles here, we've been seeing a lot of flooding around. If you look behind me there, the river have gone way over its normal level and it's just flooding all the fields. And the farmers has not been too happy in this area we hear, because they're supposed to have harvested all their crop by now, and we have seen it because we haven't seen anything lay dry on the road. But now they're in full activity, and it looks like right up ahead of here we have somebody going for it. So let's take a stop here next to these people and see what's going on. Our friend. And I think she is saying that she's pretty pissed about the weather this year, and the harvest have been terrible, and she's trying to show the bad crop.
Okay, well, we've harvested the rice now, and got a threshing machine here where they're separating out the rice kernel from the straw. So pretty big process, kind of cool. but it's really, really wet. So it looks like just because of all the rains and stuff, but it's time to harvest. So then they're drying out the kernels here.
So that's life in the back country and the back along the main road in Laos. So let's go further on and see if we see something else interesting.
We're never quite sure what lies ahead, and all of the rain has caused some minor inconveniences in terms of the road we're following. Somehow, we always manage to encounter a river ferry just when we need one.
We're crossing the Mekong River here. We just caught a ferry boat. We're about 20 kilometers south of Pakse in Laos, and it's kind of cool here. We're just taking this little ferry over across the river, across the Mekong, and we're going to go see the Wat Phu, which is a big temple complex. But it's really kind of nice here. It's nice and warm. It's like 85 degrees. It's really hotted up here. But we just saw a really cool little ferry boat. It had about 3 bicycles on it. It's like a little dugout canoe. I hadn't seen one of those before. That's kind of fun. And here we got, 3 motorcycles and 2 vans on this little ferry. It's kind of 3 boats kind of tied together. I think we're going to land pretty quick, so let's take the boat or the bikes and get off the boat and go see what's out there.
In Southeast Asia, a temple is called a Wat, and Wat Phu means temple on the mountain. This temple was part of the Khmer Empire, which was centered at Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Several sandstone tiers lead up to a terrace and a sanctuary with a modern Buddha image. Although little restoration work has been accomplished here, Wat Phu was designated as a World Heritage Site in 2001. We didn't stay for very long, but it did give us an idea of what we have to look forward to when we get to Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Right now, we're looking for another ferry. We have to get across the river before it gets dark.
I think we should have gone that way.
There they are. I think, yep, they're down there.
We're gonna put the big bikes on the little boat over there and go across the Mekong. Go from one side to the other. So it should be pretty exciting. Not a very big boat. I hope they got enough gas to get us the other side.
Okay.
We're just about halfway through our journey across Southeast Asia. Tomorrow, we'll be crossing the border into Cambodia, a country like Laos that has been ravaged by decades of war and poverty.
So it's another morning, our last morning in Laos. That's going to be kind of sad to say goodbye to Laos. It just happened for me too fast.
Man, it was. It went very, very quickly. So, lovely day. No rain today, and I think it's time to get out on the road and let's visit Cambodia.
So today we've been riding along, heading for Cambodia, not much happening, and then all of a sudden we saw this sign to the right, to Kon Papeng waterfall, only 2 kilometers off the main drag, and here we are. It's a mighty Mekong river that's just coming through to the biggest waterfall in Southeast Asia, and it's pretty impressive. As you see, it's not a big waterfall, it's more like a cascading deal, but if you look at the amount of water at the end of the rainy season now, it's quite a lot of water coming down. And we keep running into the Mekong River on this trip, and I think we are going to run into it several more times before the journey is over. So let's get on the road again and see if we can find that border to Cambodia. So see you down the road.
Made it down here to Cambodia. We're crossing the Mekong River here on this nice little ferry boat. We're going across with our 3 buddies here. These nice little water buffalo. It costs the same for a water buffalo to cross the ferry as our motorbikes. So the road into the border from Laos was very, very rough. It was a little narrow road full of potholes and mud puddles. It was really fun on the bikes. And then we get to the little secret border crossing there, and it's out in the woods. There's a little wooden shack. It's kind of cool. And it was no problem. It was just smooth sailing right through the border, the whole visa process and the entry into Cambodia. Bam, we crossed the border, and it's a super highway. It's a beautiful new 2-lane highway with a yellow stripe down the middle. It's actually got lanes, and it's just smooth sailing all the way in. Now we're just crossing over into Stung Tren. So these 2 gentlemen are taking these 3 nice water buffalo into town, and he's going to trade them 3 water buffalo to get 1 motorbike. He's going to get a nice little motor scooter. They'll be happy tonight riding home on a new bike. I think that's good. We'll see if we can go find our hotel for tonight and see what's out there.
So what's the first impression of Cambodia? People are very reserved here. They're kind of quiet, a little suspicious, not like in Vietnam and Laos where they were just all over us jumping on the bikes. You look at them, they look away. It's a different atmosphere here. I haven't figured it out yet. We will see.
This city is just a small town, not big, and by the Mekong River, and very quiet. From here to the capital, about 600 kilometers away.
In the evening, we sit by the river and watch boats arrive. Scooters are a common sight everywhere in Southeast Asia, and Cambodia is no exception.
It's our first stop in Cambodia, and it's very interesting to see down by the market here how people transport goods. Like this motorcycle here been transformed to carrying this big trailer, a 2-wheeled, really high clearance, and I specifically like the side stand, which is a board you take out. And we've been seeing people coming and going all the time, and some guy make his living doing this. Pretty cool. Just another little postcard from the IndoChina Expedition with GlobeRiders.
A small scooter is a big investment for the people who live here, and keeping it clean is a matter of both practicality and pride.
Here in Cambodia, in Krachi, Cambodia, and we're on the Mekong River, and we've come down here to see if we could find some of the Irrawaddy dolphins. They're a freshwater dolphin that live in this area, and there are very, very, very few of them left. We were very lucky. We have a good guide, and he took us right to a little pod here, and we found some. And this area of the river from Krachi up to Stung Tren, it's probably about 120 kilometer stretch of river, and it's a protected area. So the government is actually trying to
increase the numbers of these, but they're in danger. There's only 42 of them left, they say. And so the government, in combination with the World Wildlife Fund from Australia, is working to see if they're doing some breeding and seeing if they can't increase these guys and maybe save them. But boy, they're in trouble. And the government, it's also banned fishing with big nets here in the river. This whole stretch of river from Karachi here all the way up to Stung. So they can still do a little fishing along the banks of the river and everything, but with the big gill nets and drift nets and everything in the river have totally been banned. So beautiful day here, and we've been very lucky. Our guide's been good, and we've seen quite a few of the dolphin here. They kind of just surface. Hopefully all the efforts will pay off, and in a few years there'll be a lot more of these. But one of the big problems was the Khmer during that regime. A lot of the army people like to fish with hand grenades. They'd throw grenades in the river and just blow them up, and that really decimated the population. That was probably one of the big problems. But they were hunting them or fishing them for their meat and also for their oil. So and these are big animals. They're like 2.5 meter long. So I think we'll probably head back to the shore here and continue on to Kampong Cham for tonight. So we'll see you later.
Oh, it's ever hot here in Cambodia today. It's our third day in the country and it's hotter than ever. Blue sky, we are not complaining because we had some rain earlier. This is much better. And it's great when you are riding. Just the wind cools you off and it's been a wonderful ride today. Then we stop to take some pictures like here and it gets really hot. And what is this guy doing here behind us? Well, he has a big fishing net in front of that boat there and he pulled that up and catch the fish. It looked like kind of small sardine things. They are shiny, glittering in the sun from the distance here. Now he's just dropping the net again, this kid, and the net sits there and collect fish. And they keep taking it up and down, and he go there with a little scooper and get the fish out. They live on these houseboats, fish on them, and I bet that kid grew up on that boat too. That was just a little postcard, a little picture from the road in Cambodia. We are going to continue towards Phnom Penh and we see you down the road.
So Helge, you ready for a nice ride today?
You know, being from Seattle, both of us, actually Sterling too, 3 of us here, we don't mind. It's like being home. It's like the homecoming. Going into Phnom Penh today, this could be a great ride. In the rain when you are riding motorcycle, what is fun for you?
Because that is a new adventure.
It's a new extreme adventure for Tan and us. So we will see what this extreme rainy monsoon day, supposed to be rainy season, will bring us. So we see you down the road.
Cambodia has a lot of history. You can see everywhere pagodas. In all places, you could see pagodas, temples, almost everywhere.
Today is the last 3 days of a 15-day Buddhist festival, Prangang, and it's a celebration where everybody's going back to their homes to celebrate, and they're going to take food and bring them to take the food to the pagoda, to the monks. And it's a celebration where they kind of remember their ancestors and all their history. And it's just it's a big celebration, and everybody's out on the road. This morning when we stopped for gas, the gas station was so busy because everybody was on their little motor scooters filling up, trying to get home for the holidays.
So in this country they have extra. I can really recognize a big difference from Vietnam and Laos on the gas. In Vietnam and Laos, we're accelerating, was plinging on the valves, it was really bad. And it's like around $1 a liter, so $4 a gallon, more or less, for the gas here. Well, we are on the way to Phnom Penh, but even on a rainy day, we didn't get far because we saw a lot of neat things. And this is a little village just off the main road. And we happened to drive by this repair shop here. And what do we see? They are vulcanizing the tire, and it's a really unique way. They use natural rubber, and they have a piece of metal. And very ingeniously, they've been using a piston as the press, and then he's tightened up here. And the piston has fire inside it, so it's warming up right now. And that way it's vulcanizing the whole. They didn't even take off the inner tube of the rear tire of this little bike. It's really, really cool. It doesn't get more basic than this.
Fortunately for us, we haven't had any tire problems with the big BMW motorcycles we're riding. The bikes just keep performing, no matter how much we throw at them. About 50 kilometers north of Phnom Penh, a city that's become well known for its spiders.
We're here in the lovely little village of Stung to get some spiders. They're selling them all right along the road here. You can get curb service if you want. They'll bring them right up to your window in your van or right here on the motorbike too. So I think this lady right over here has some spiders, so let's go try some.
So Helge, how do you like your spider? Medium?
Medium to well done.
Okay, I like mine with a little hot sauce.
It's well done.
Well done, okay.
Not so hot.
It smells like maybe a little bit of garlic.
Yeah, steak fried.
Fried in hot oil.
Yeah, oyster sauce.
Oh, oyster. So what do you say? Maybe have one?
Yeah,
I'll buy you some spider.
Nhưng mà cãi không cãi man, cãi bay.
Oh,
This one.
ooh.
This is the big one.
Ooh, show 'em. Oh, that's beautiful.
Man.
Is it good?
No, good.
Yeah.
Good taste.
It's kind of like a crab, huh?
It's good, better than crab.
Better than crab.
You should try it.
Good.
The only thing I'm a little aware of is the
wouldn't eat
head,
that.
when I'm coming to the head. Huh?
Yeah.
You know, I like it. It's very good. Can I buy a plate?
So we got a couple of spiders to go here, so we'll have lunch on the road, maybe a little picnic at our next stop.
We arrived in Phnom Penh near the end of a Buddhist holiday. There's a spirit of happiness in the air. The streets are full of people, and the weather's great. This is Cambodia, a country that was once part of the great Khmer Empire. Today, we're looking for something that we read about on the internet before we came to Phnom Penh. It's a part of the city that's rarely seen by outsiders, hidden on the outskirts of town, down the far end of a long and muddy road designed to keep visitors away. The Stung dump on the outskirts of Phnom Penh is a place that attracts the poorest of the poor. Unable to find work in the city, they come here to pick through the refuse, looking for anything of value.
all these kids here, unfortunately, have been found, this is their living, this is their place where they live. They dig out from the dump and sort out. I looked in some of the bags, and they sort of basically recycling and resell, and that's how they make their living. And they actually look like they have homes and stuff. We're going to go and have a closer look. So let's go and look around. Shall we go and find a place? Okay.
The dump is perpetually on fire because of the methane produced by the rotting garbage. About 2,000 people live and work here, including many children. Some of them go to school, but most of them do not. Many families come from villages located outside of the city, and this is the only opportunity that they can find. Their work is extremely dangerous, and the risk of injury, sickness, and infection runs high. A few organizations exist to help the families who live and work here, but the problem isn't going away soon. During our visit, we met one man who came here as a child, and he answered some of our questions.
I'm surprised that I happen to see you come here by motor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a surprise. They are surprised when they see the motor.
Big motor.
Yeah.
Most of these people, they live here, or do they live in village and only come out here?
Sometimes they live here.
Sometimes they live here. How much money can you make in one day, hard work? One day, how much money? How many dollars?
8,000 real.
8,000 reals, so
Yeah,
that is about
sometime-
$2 in
Yeah,
one day.
$2. But I think not enough for the support in my family.
No.
Yeah, but I have no working.
Yeah.
But for me, the same, my friend
Yeah.
who work here. Yeah, the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have, sometimes they are sick, no money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's
Sometimes-
easy for them to come
Yeah,
here.
sometimes dangerous.
I came here because I read about it in book,
Yeah.
that this place is famous. Many people make their living,
Yeah.
and not many places in the world is the same. So we want to come and see how people are living, making their living from the garbage. Because I think many people, they throw away everything.
Unlike the families who live here, we can leave when we want to. A thick coat of chocolate-colored mud is the only price we had to pay on our visit to the dump. It's hard to imagine a scene more heartbreaking than Phnom Penh's infamous municipal waste dump. But there's another place in this city, in guidebooks and history books, with a story that's even more tragic.
I remember I went to the Vietnam Wall in Washington, D.C., and it was not before I got in there that I really felt that I come to a different place. And it's the same here at the killing fields outside Phnom Penh. So you see the stupa behind me there, with all the head skulls representing some of the massacre that went on here from 1975 to 79.
The Khmer Rouge killed a quarter of the population during the reign of Pol Pot. Much of the massacre happened here, in these fields outside of Phnom Penh. This was a place of unspeakable horror and brutality. Today, everything is well marked and tells the history of violence that took place in these killing fields. Glass cases display the bones of victims who died here, and some of their clothing still remains on the ground. Our guide Paul was alive during this reign of terror and agreed to tell us about what happened.
We've been walking around here now and seeing all this devastation. You have been educating us. But the most interesting, I think, is your story. And how old were you when Pol Pot took over in 1975?
I was 13 years old in 1975 after the Khmer took over the country, Cambodia. Everything was shut down, like a school, a Buddhist temple, the market, the money were abolished. So, Phnom Penh was empty, nothing. Everybody in Phnom Penh, in the provincial town, were forced march out to the countryside to work the field. My father died in 1977 of starvation. The three brothers were killed as well. Almost every Cambodian people, they have the same story. Lost their household member, lost the whole family. I think they never forget it. Even me, we work very hard, nothing to eat, no school, no medicine, no religion. But now we have everything.
I think we are going to thank you, Paul, for being our guide. And we haven't seen all of Cambodia so far. It's been a really good place. And with a country that have seen so much terrible thing, it's amazing, nice people here. Very good people, beautiful landscape, and we have a lot more to see. So with these words, we are going to leave the killing field and get on the road again and see some more of Cambodia.
Down at the ocean, in the southern part of the country, the city of Kep, known far and wide for the harvest it pulls out of the sea.
So we have the Pacific Ocean behind us here, and it's full of crab, and they are taking advantage. I mean, we had such a good meal of crab yesterday, and we wanted to see the source of our fantastic orgy in crab last night. So what we see around here, people coming, it's actually a long holiday for the Cambodians. So they're coming down here to buy crab, and then they go over to other people that actually boil them. So what I was told is they have to go quite far to catch the crab. So the boats you see out there, they will go out, catch the crabs, then they keep them in pots here alive, and they come in here and haggling and juggling, and they buy them by the kilo. And I see people, they are feeling and touching the crabs, see if there are any good meat in them. They fill up big baskets. Then they go over to the other ladies that's boiling up the crab, and then they go for their little picnic. It sounds like a feast to me. But it's not only crabs. You have also shrimp. I've seen abalones, some big, huge, fat abalones here. And that's what this village is famous for and makes it living for. So let's go around and have a little sneak into the pots and see how they are haggling and dealing and wheeling to get their crabs. You see the ladies, they are keeping the crabs out in the pots. They are full of crab, and they need to keep them out there to cool them down, to keep them in the water, because when people come here, they pick out the crab. They watch if they are fresh, if they are good. They don't want dead crab. They want the fresh as possible. So they kind of hang out there, and then people come to buy crab, and they give them a little sign, and then they come in like what you see over here. Here are the ladies with their crabs. Somebody have come to look at, and they will take up crab and show to them. Let's go over to this one here. There's a woman now just came down, and I saw they ran up to them, and she's going to be looking and checking the crab and see if it's good. you can see it on the dress of the people too. They come from the big city. They've been driving for 3-4 hours down to the coast here to have the weekend, and now they are checking out to get a good meal. It's really cool. This is so lively. I just love it. Here comes another one behind them again. You see they're opening the crab pot there, and more people looking at it. It's like they're advertising their goods. See, look at my crab. My crab is better than her crab. Look, they are so full of life. Oh gosh, you got a big one back there. Look at that. Okay, so they cleaned out the crab and put it in the pot, and they contracted with a local lady here to start boiling like what you see over here. And now she's putting it in the bag, and they're going off to a picnic, I bet you. Looks really nice, very colorful. And if you look behind us here, you have the fishermen. They've been out working all night, and I don't see any guys over at the market. I don't see them doing anything anymore. What are the guys doing? The women is not fishing. So this is what the guys doing. They are playing snooker. It's like many other places you see around the world, that the women are the one that deal with the money and do the haggling and juggling, and the guys go out and do the fun part, catch the crab.
Yeah, they go, 30, 40 kilometers out to another island out in the ocean, and that's where they get all the crab, and then they spend the night there, and then early in the morning, they come here to Kep. It's kind of like the crab market, and give the crab to the women to sell. So, yeah.
So you tell me, who's the boss? I think in this village is the lady. They rule. They are really cool. So let's get on the road and carry on and experience some new stuff. Well, we just came from the crab village and huddling along. And it's chaos traffic. Everybody driving like crazy. It's the end of the holiday. And here comes this very calm, big, huge elephant. And she was a beauty. She was just walking along with two guys on top. And we stopped to take some pictures. And he wanted money. I had some cigarettes from earlier that I've been carrying for this kind of occasion. Gave them some cigarettes. He was happy. And off they went again. It just looks so peaceful in contrast to that crazy traffic of this weekend. So we're here along the road on the way to Angkor Wat. We took a little stop, a little break here to look at the rock carvers. And Chris, what do they do here?
Boy, these guys are good. They've got some really, really big Buddhas here. Buddhas seem to be their specialty, but the process here is these Buddhas end up in the temples, but private individuals order these Buddhas, and they tell them how big they want and what size, where they're going, and then they go ahead and carve them. But the bigger Buddhas, they spend almost 2,000 American dollars for one. They have smaller ones for $300 to $500, but then the family gives these to the temples for good luck and prayers and things like that. And all the carvings around here, all the stone it's all sandstone. And the quarry is about 100 kilometers from here. It's at Kampong Thon. So they quarry it, then they truck it here, and then when they're done, they put it on a big truck with a crane, and then they deliver it to the temple.
I was thinking of taking this guy with me. It's just going to be a little too big, so I'm going to look for a smaller one. Let's go and shop a little and then head on the road again. We're almost at Angkor Wat. We've been riding all day, and what do we see here, Chris?
Oh man, isn't that a cool bridge? So built in the 12th century, our guide was saying. Man, I can just imagine like elephants and water buffalo and stuff running across there.
Chris has been calling his 1200 GS adventure the water buffalo, so I think we should go and take a ride across there. But I agree with Chris, you come to these places and sometimes you think 12th century, and that's like almost 1,000 years ago. And just think what that bridge has seen. It's made of rocks, just put on top of each other. It's no glue, it's no cement, no metal, no nothing. It's just rocks piled on top of each other.
What we've seen carved in stone so far pales by comparison to what we're about to see, one of the most significant archaeological discoveries ever, and one of the world's greatest assemblages of temples.
It's famous all over the world. People come from everywhere to see this 1200th century ancient village or city. It actually was one of the biggest cities in the world at its time.
It's probably the largest temple site in the world. There's hundreds of temples, literally, and it's a whole city. It was a whole... Angkor Wat's the most popular or the biggest, but there's a lot of other different little Wats and different temples, and there's a whole city there. There's a whole civilization that lived there, and it's really cool.
The Angkor area, that there are many temples, so Angkor Wat is one of them. In fact, according to one document, we get more than 600 temples in Siem Reap. We don't know clearly about how long would it take to build this temple, but just around that one, about 37 years, from 1113 to 1150. In that time, there were more than 1 million people living in Angkor city. Yeah. So it was bigger than some city in Europe or bigger than London, something like that. Yeah, so we have five main towers, 5 Queen Kang towers. So the tower of the temple symbol of the peak of mountain, the peak of Mount Meru, a mythical mountain that symbol of the heaven of God, Vishnu, because this one dedicated to Vishnu. The moat, that symbol of the ocean, because the temple is the mountain, the heaven for the God. So the moat must be the ocean. So, but we still have some more temple in the jungle that is a very ruined one. Yeah, Bayon is the one temple in Angkor Thom, that the one built by King Jayavarman VII, the one he built for himself to pray. And Bayon built later than Angkor Wat, but a bit poorer condition than Angkor Wat, because after our city was abandoned, no one living around there to maintain the temple. But Angkor Wat had some people living around here and maintain it. So that's why it's not so ruined. And so Bayon has about 54 towers. Each tower has 4 faces. That nice face that caters to the 4 cardinal directions. That the face symbol of the king's face and Buddha's face. According to Mr. Pierre Loti, the French man who came here, he said that he was very scary when he climbed up to the temple, to the top. He could see the face among the tree, 1 face, 2 face, 5 face, 10 face disappeared or appeared like ghosts.
Throughout my travels, I've traveled to more than 100 countries now with my motorcycle, and I've been through minefields like in Chile, in South America. It was a marked area, but I never have been on a place in a country like Cambodia where you are warned about going out just into the fields by yourself. In this area here, it's not so dangerous, but many places still you have to be very careful.
Outside of Siem Reap, the Cambodian Landmine Museum, founded by a man named Akira.
The founder of this museum, he's been working for years now, deactivating mines all over Cambodia. He's been called into villages all over, and in the museum here we have a huge collection, and it's just barely, it's not by far all of it what he has been involved with. from pictures you can see he's been everywhere, and he's been called into villages to help them. He came here because of his background. He fought with the Khmer Rouge, and then when the Vietnamese came, he worked for them, placing mines, and then later for the government. And with that background, having placed mines all over Cambodia, killing, like he said himself in some interviews, he don't know how many people. He later turned this into something positive. In his dedication to getting rid of landmines, he now have created this museum that we are here to visit. One of the problems with mines are that many of them, they are not mapped, and the mines that you see here in the museum, they come from excavations or deactivating of mines in the villages, and they are brought here. The founder, he liked to collect them to show other people, to teach them about these dangerous mines that villagers find every day around the country. And it's pretty tragic to see and read about the story of farmers in Cambodia. Hundreds of people die every year still because of this. I saw a statistic on one of the posters in there. There was 722 people killed in 2004. Afghanistan was the only one that was higher. By reading his story, I'm just amazed that the man is still alive, having been in the bush, doing this without metal detector, just machete and digging up the mines.
Just outside of Siem Reap, a small floating village on Tonle Sap Lake. This is the largest lake in Southeast Asia, but its water level changes throughout the year, so the people who live here move their floating homes back and forth. There's a floating school, a floating church, and an entire community of floating people coming and going in every direction. Most of the floating houses have a small fish farm attached to some part of the house. When fishing season is closed, they raise their own, underneath the house. There's no electricity here. They rely on battery recharging stations to get their power. One charge will last for about 3 days, enough to power a satellite television. When they're not moving about in their small boats or tending to their fish farms, you might see the people who live here lying in their hammocks, watching the world float by. This is a peaceful place, a different world from the crowds and commerce of Siem Reap, a part of Cambodia that exists somewhere between the old world and the new one, a place that's always adrift and always changing, much like the country itself. Our journey through Cambodia is nearly complete. In this small corner of the world, we've seen many extremes, from the height of a civilization that was once great to the madness of a more recent one. The history of Cambodia isn't carved in stone. It's being written every day by the people who live, work, and play here. So long from the GlobeRiders IndoChina Expedition. Thanks for watching. To purchase a DVD of this program or learn more about the IndoChina Expedition and other GlobeRiders adventures, please visit our website.